Goddard, by the way, 2-touchdown game. Was very impressed to see that. They did that little flick play that tends to work, that play action little flick into the middle. Good for them, that works. They see that Eagles hat. Shout out the Eagles. Congrats on the win yesterday. There you go. Saquon Barkley, 78 yards and a touchdown with a good rushing game overall for them. Jalen Hurts, by the way, 3 completions, 3 touchdowns. Definitely a bounce-back game for Jalen, what needed. Funny enough to see former Eagles Super Bowl champion, not starting quarterback, but did play in the Super Bowl, Kenny Pickett, for the Raiders. Man, this Raiders team sucks. I got nothing else to say about the Raiders, man. They are terrible. They're not good at anything on a football field. Not one thing. I literally can't name anything that Pete Carroll did a good job of yesterday. I couldn't name one thing that the offensive coordinator...
All season.
Yeah, all season. It's sad. It is sad. By the way, shout out... I did see the one thing I thought was interesting was like Max Crosby screaming at Devin White halfway through, but I want to say Devin White, you know, for all things considered, a career season for Devin White. He was looked at as like one of the biggest busts of the draft after he left Tampa Bay and couldn't figure it out. But Devin White, 16 tackles on the day. He was great with the Bucs, then couldn't find a home after that. It looked like he was going to be out. 16 tackles, having a very, very good year. He's actually second in the league in solo tackles. So shout out Devin White. That's the only bright spot I could talk about for that Raiders team because, man, they suck. Moving on. Also, with them winning and the Dallas Cowboys losing, I believe we're 1 game away from the Eagles clinching that division.
It's not even one. It's like half a game.
It's just the Eagles winning another one?
Yeah, I think that's all it is. They win one of these next games. They got it.
Next up, the Bears beat the Cleveland Browns 31-3 at home. Caleb Williams, really good game overall. I thought he made some beautiful passes, but the biggest shout out I want to give in this game was to running back DeAndre Swift. I thought the running game looked great for Chicago, but impressively enough, DeAndre Swift, it feels like a lot of teams do not have success in the run against Cleveland. That's where Cleveland's been great all year. But man, Swift absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage with those runs. He had a couple great long runs, kept getting first downs on 1st and 10s, 18 for 98 and 2 touchdowns for him. No Rome Odunze was ruled out right before this game started after dealing with some sort of lingering injury that's been happening. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But DJ Moore, by the way, some of those throws that came, those 2 touchdown passes that Caleb made to DJ Moore, both of them were absurd throws. I know Shaken's here in chat. Shaken, you are not a believer in Caleb Williams. You might have to start changing that ideology around a little bit because, man, he's starting to make some beautiful throws when it matters too. But the main thing I want to talk about in this game is not just Shedeur Sanders, but apparently he was given the wrong play calling wristband in the first half of the game, because even Stefanski came out and said that this happened. They were asked what happened in the beginning of the game, why weren't the play calls right, and Stefanski said there was a miscommunication. And here we are now with Shedeur not being given the correct wristband for at least the first quarter of this game. Now, mind you, you're not going to win a game against Chicago if you're getting, your starting running back is going 12 carries for 21 yards and your quarterback's throwing 3 picks.
And 5 sacks.
There's a lot to talk about in that. But first and foremost, how does your quarterback have the wrong wristband?
Especially when he's trying to hold it up all the time. You think he would read it once. Well, I mean, this is on everybody. It's like, how does Shedeur not know? How does the coach not know? How the hell does it take one full half? You know what I mean? It's like, how does it take one half? It's
sad. It's sad. But the biggest takeaway from this game overall is that it's official that Myles Garrett is one sack away. 1 sack away, Myles Garrett is. He's at 21 and a half. He's 1 full sack away from tying the record at 22 and a half, and he's 1.5 sacks away. And what I will say is that half a sack was a little bit of BS. I thought he should have been given that full sack. Who took it? Yeah, Shelby Harris took that other half a sack from him. I like him too, but I really thought that was I can't lie. I really thought that was just a Myles Garrett sack when I watched it live. But shout out to the Cleveland Browns for absolutely losing this game horribly. In normal Cleveland Browns fashion way, they can never have 2 back-to-back games they're proud of, even in losses. And as for Chicago, they take back the division. So now they're up to 10-4. Chicago takes back the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers losing, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The worst game of the day.
Gotta give credit to Caleb Williams as well, and Chicago. I mean, that game was, I only saw the highlights, but that was, what was it, 6 degrees or something? It's like for a guy who played in Southern Cal and is from California, shout out to him for seems to be acclimating to this weather. They're probably doing a good job at making at practice. You know, Ben Johnson got their ass outside every day.
Worst game of the week, the Cincinnati Bengals get shut out at home. Last minute, I decided to put Joe Burrow in as my starting fantasy quarterback this week in my first round of the playoffs, and as you can see, that was the worst decision I could have made, and I lost my fantasy playoffs because of it. So shout out Joe Burrow. 25 of 39, 225, and 2 interceptions. The one interception was then like a lateral handoff for a pick six, a 95-yard pick six on them. Baltimore looked terrible. I can't believe I'm saying that in a 24-0 win. Baltimore looked horrendous for probably over 50% of this game. I get that it looks like they had a good game on the ground. The majority of those runs came in the second half when they already had a solid lead. I am a little salty, yeah, but I thought Baltimore was horrible. Majority of this game, I thought Lamar looked bad. I thought they couldn't get a rhythm going. But the biggest thing was that Joe Burrow couldn't do anything at all. Over the run game wasn't great. The passing game looked inconsistent. No T. Higgins. I don't know. They kept getting okay drives. They kept converting on some third downs, Cincinnati, and then Joe Burrow would immediately just turn the ball over or it would go back. Samaje Perine fumbled the ball. Luckily, it was recovered by the Bengals, but gosh. Bad game overall. Ravens go to 7-7, which means if the Steelers lose tonight, the Ravens take back over, I believe, the AFC North. But 7-7 for the Ravens, 4-10 for the Cincinnati Bengals. People speculating if Joe Burrow is going to pull an Andrew Luck anytime soon, but so we'll see about that.
I don't know if he'd walk away per se, but I mean, I could see him saying he wants out, and I wouldn't blame him at all.
Yeah, terrible game. Just terrible game overall. You expect, this guy to not have a game throwing no touchdowns at home. That's exactly what they did against Baltimore in 24-0 loss.
Cincinnati's awful. That team's terrible.
It is official. After going to 3 straight Super Bowls, ladies and gentlemen, the Kansas City Chiefs are officially out of the playoffs. Takeaways from this game. I cannot believe in field goal range at the end of this game, Mahomes goes down with the ACL. We all saw it happen. We all kind of knew he got injured immediately. Gardner Minshew comes in. This team needs about a 4-yard run play to get into quote-unquote better field goal range. And they let Gardner Minshew throw a contested, not open pass on the left side that gets intercepted with 20 seconds to go. They could have just kicked the field goal from where they were, and I think they had a better chance of tying this game. But no, they put Gardner Minshew in. He drives them into field goal range for 20 yards. And then Andy Reid says, throw the ball again to Travis Kelce. Gets picked off by, who was it? I believe it was, let me try and find who. It was number 0. Yeah, Henley. Henley picks him off. And now the Kansas City Chiefs are officially eliminated from playoff contention. Takeaways from this one, once again. No run game for Kansas City. No run game for Kansas City at all. In comparison, at least, I thought Vidal and Hampton had fine games. I don't think they had great games, but I think they had fine games. The passing game was pretty rough for the Chargers all day. Both offenses really struggled to get into any sort of rhythm. Big shout out, by the way, to Cameron Dicker. I gotta show you the video. His Pro Bowl ad is one of the greatest ads I've seen in football. Cameron Dicker, so shout out to him coming out after that and making all 3 of his field goals. But, man, the Kansas City Chiefs officially eliminated from playoff contention. Rashee Rice dropping a couple passes. Xavier Worthy being the worst receiver for his draft pick in football. Tyquan Thornton had a bad drop down the field. Travis Kelce had a couple good catches, but boy, does he not have any run after catch ability anymore with his age. And now Patrick Mahomes likely to miss possibly up to a full calendar year with a torn ACL after Miami throwing an interception in this game. No touchdowns. Torn ACL reported for Patrick Mahomes. Anything you guys want to say on this?
Depression. But I totally understand how fans feel when their quarterbacks do tore their ACLs, like how Jason Tatum tore his ACL. You know, Tyrese Halliburton, same thing. So it's now I understand how y'all feel. But it's my father sending me everything about Chiefs losing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I'm happy the Chiefs missed the playoffs. I was a little dumb with them, but what they make the playoffs 10 years in a row or something? That's to make the playoffs every year for a decade is insane. So hats off to them. Nothing but respect for the run they've had with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. And it's tough now with Mahomes getting hurt. It's like, dude, he's probably going to miss. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but he's probably going to miss at least the start of next season.
He is.
So.
I mean, it's like a year because you tore your ACL.
Yeah, it's already December right now, and it's like, you know, training camp. I mean, they're going to start looking at it. Training camp realistically is 7 months from now. I gotta say 8 months from now. No, 7 really. 7 really. Like mid-July.
Yep.
Maybe like mid-July, maybe August. It just depends if you have good doctors.
Well, he'll have the best. Yeah, he'll have the best medical treatment in the world. But that's disappointing with him tearing his ACL. But all the credit in the world to Kansas City for being the threat they've been the last decade. I just think when they run this thing back, and then you look at like Travis Kelce, he's a free agent after the year. Does he even play again?
Is he retiring? Is this it? Are they gonna bring in a quarterback to try and bridge the gap for a couple months? Like I've already been seeing like Aaron Rodgers rumors now, like next year that they're gonna sign him for the 3-month period with Mahomes. I'm like, oh man, I cannot wait to see what this offseason looks like for Kansas City. But I thought it was also interesting. Chris Jones after the game had to ask the reporter if they were eliminated. He actually didn't even know that they were going into this game to possibly be eliminated. It was kind of funny to think that like 4 different things had to happen. 4 different things had to happen for the Chiefs to get eliminated yesterday, and all of them did. So, bad luck.
I saw Chris Jones say that, not knowing if that's the thing with Kansas City. Say what you want. Andy Reid got them locked in. They're only worried about the one game in front of them every single week with that team. That's why they've been so great. Shout out to again. I don't like Kansas City. I'm happy they missed the playoffs, stuff like that. But the run they've had with Mahomes as of up into this top, I mean, legendary. It's legendary. No doubt about it.
Say what you want, but just look at the list.
Yeah, they're a dynasty. This was a dynasty for Kansas City.
Thanks, Brian, for that. I know your Patriots hurt.
Yeah, but it's just the truth. You know what I mean? They won 3 Super Bowls. They played in 5? So it's like, and then every other year they're in the championship game and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Toughest game of the week probably for you, but a crazy second half comeback by the Buffalo Bills. They were down 21-0 at first. Drake May ran in the first 2 touchdowns of the game. I was super impressed by that. And then after that, Travion Henderson, by the way, broke open 2 incredible runs. Shout out to Drake May for running all the way down the field to block. It looked like everything was going to be in the Patriots' favor until at the end of the second half, they scored that touchdown to go into half, and then bang, 28 points scored by not only Josh Allen, but James Cook as well in that second half. Big shout out to the tight ends, by the way. Dawson Knox with the 2 touchdowns. I thought Kincaid had a couple good, really crucial catches this game. Matt Collins had a couple good plays in this game. That booty catch was ridiculous, by the way, on that right sideline, but man.
Probably wasn't a catch either.
I don't think it was, but they hurried it up. They got it done. And the Patriots blow a 21-0 lead at home, which would have secured them in the division. Drake May, by the way, 155 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, mind you, he did have the 2 rushing touchdowns to start the game, which is definitely helping his, fantasy purposes, if anyone knows him in fantasy this week. But, man, what a disaster second half by the Patriots. I can't lie. It was disappointing to see. Obviously, this has to do more with Buffalo just being that good as opposed to the Patriots being worse. But at the same time, you have a 21-0 lead to secure the division, and they were not able to secure it.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game by 2 really good football teams. I mean, Buffalo just played better. I didn't really think, I know the Patriots were up 3 touchdowns at one point, but I was like, I didn't really think like they blew this game. Now, when you're up 21-0 at home, you should win. But the thing is, they were up 21-0, after 25 minutes of the game or something like that? So it's like, Buffalo could just explode like the way they did. I mean, you can't let them go 5 drives in a row with touchdowns, but that's what Buffalo does. You know what I mean? And I think if you're looking at it now, they're a game back Buffalo. It's like, they've seemed to do this last few years. It's like, this could be the beginning of Buffalo just ripping off wins and potentially going to the Super Bowl. I know they haven't done that yet, but this might be that. I thought May played really well yesterday. They couldn't make any plays at all in the second half. And then special teams, Ray Davis had 2 runs where he went deep into Patriots territory on kickoff.
Huge.
Both times. Everyone wants to blame officiating. I mean, I thought the officiating was awful in this game, but it wasn't any more awful than it usually is. I don't think it was skewed towards anybody because Keyshawn Boutte got that catch, and then that catch, they bring this replay system, which, what's the point of having challenges if we can just do all this replay assist nonsense? Buffalo got totally screwed in the first quarter of this game when they couldn't replay assist their play because the Patriots got it off, and Buffalo couldn't do the same thing on the next drive. That being said, credit to Mike Vrabel for throwing the challenge flag. So, tough game, and then, the Patriots are going to have trouble no matter what. Again, this is a good Patriots team. The season's not over or anything. But the Patriots, they're going to struggle covering big guys. When you got 2 big tight ends right there, like Knox and Kincaid, in the red zone, those are the kind of guys that could score against the Patriots. So, all in all, I thought it was a really good game. Patriots just didn't have enough. Henderson's really starting to show how.
Which was funny because it looked like it was going to be a Stevenson game to start the first quarter. Stevenson was in every play. It was like they were throwing him the ball. He was running and he was playing well. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a Stevenson game. And then bang, Henderson comes in. He gets that that halfback stretch to the right, which he just sits behind the offensive line for a second, and then bang, bounces left. That I think it was Milano actually, the Bills linebacker that just completely missed him on that tackle. He looked to get into the pile, saw Henderson. By the time he realized Henderson was gone off the left, and Drake May ran 50 yards down the field to do that block.
That's just everything I want to see. Like that's what you love. Like the team's so well coached. Drake May is awesome. And it's like, I don't think this is like a bad loss in the sense that, they were up 21-0 at home, and it was like you lost to a division team and all that stuff, but I mean, just what you see from the teams is really good. And hey, I know I make fun of Sean McDermott all the time, but they out-coached, they adjusted in the second half, and the Patriots couldn't stop in the second half. That being said, with those runs that Henderson has, where he ran outside, he had 2 super long runs. He might be the fastest guy in football. When I watch him run,
or maybe the most acceleration, I think you could say. I don't know if his top speed is as high as everyone else's, but that, 0 to 5 to a 10 is ridiculous.
No one can get near him. It doesn't matter. It's like, at least for offensive players, the way I've seen him this year, I don't know if I've seen another offensive player run like that. Usually the fastest players are running backs, wide receivers, and then usually safeties. You know what I mean? So, but good Lord, the runs he had. And then Josh Allen was incredible. You can't say enough. I mean, he was just like...
He's the MVP of the league for a reason, man. He's been the MVP. He was the MVP last year for a reason. He's maybe the best player in football. Now with Mahomes going down with the head injury, he is probably the #1 player in football.
And no benefit for Buffalo yesterday, which, I mean, benefit was awesome against Cincinnati last week with Jamar Chase. Benefit's been great for them all year. Rapp's a good player. Like they got good players up there, but the Patriots, Tonga's really good, and Baltimore's really good. They need Milton Williams back at the end of the day. Williams is going to be able to play against Baltimore next week. It's his last game where he's on IR, so Williams was a difference maker when they first played in this game. But this is just a great game. I was proud of the Patriots yesterday. Obviously, you wish they could have held on and won that, but.
It just sucked to see their second half offense become so stagnant, go quick 3 and outs, and then not only that, giving Buffalo the field position, like you mentioned, was really, really big for Buffalo's comeback, getting them in.
Eric, you could say, Eric, I know they're up 21-0. I understand that part, but it's like when you look at where this team's getting measured against, this is the first year of a rebuild. They're a game up at the division. No one would have thought, even in September or October, that this would have been a situation the Patriots could be in the close.
Now let's not forget, Patriots beat Buffalo in Buffalo. It is something that did happen. Like, this is, losses at home happen like that. I do agree it's 21 points, but that 21 points happened with...
It was 21 points after a quarter and a half. It's not like they were up 21 with 8 minutes left. This isn't like how the Baltimore game was this year, where Baltimore was up on Buffalo
with 15 points with 4 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. No, I disagree, Eric. I disagree. This is a legitimate... Buffalo's a legitimate team. They're a legitimate Super Bowl threat. They're a team that's played in the conference championship a bunch of times, so... obviously, you would have wanted them to win, but this isn't like, to me, it's like, I don't think of it as like a devastating loss. Of course, they should win when they're up 21-0, especially the way the first half was looking. But
that's regular season football for you, man.
Yeah, it happens. And this was like the first real big game for this young Patriots team. This was the first game where it was like, oh wow, we actually can do something right. Like, we can win something, and hey, Buffalo played better. Buffalo played better at the end of the day. That's what it was.
Yeah, and my last shout out of the game will go to James Cook, who I don't think is going to be talked about a lot because of how good Josh Allen played in the second half, but James Cook also had some great runs. He killed him up the middle. He's one of the most underrated, best running backs in
football.
football.
And Ray Davis on special teams, both those drives, especially right at the first half, in the second half, he ran the ball back, 55 yards or something? It's like, you give Josh Allen a short field, it's like, well,
they're scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, it's going to happen almost every single time. And he did that twice yesterday against the Patriots. He did it twice.
The Giants fake kept this game close right here. 29-21 loss for the Giants under the Commanders with the 29 points in the win. Marcus Mariota, 211 yards and a touchdown, but the biggest takeaway was the running game for the Commanders. Ja'Cory Krosky-Maris, 7th-round pick. A lot of people loved him in the offseason. 18 carries, 96 yards and a touchdown.
He played college.
He played college at Arizona. Yes, 7th-round pick. Bill is what his nickname is, Bill. Shout out Terry McLaurin, by the way, right as whoever was announcing this game, I'm forgetting, I don't think it was Brady, but whoever was announcing this game did the reverse announcer jinx, where they said, man, the Commanders would love to see Terry McLaurin more involved, and the play that he said that, he caught that 51-yard touchdown, so shout out to that. Shout out to Terry McLaurin. A lot of fumbles in this game. I'm seeing 4 fumbles for the Commanders, 1 fumble for the Giants. Giants, man, though, Tyrone Tracy had a very good game on the run. We expected that because of the Washington running defense being as bad as it's been all year and their defense in general being as bad. But, man, the Giants fake kept themselves in this game. 19 points scored in the second quarter by the Washington to go 22-7. Giants scored in the third quarter to make this somewhat of a game. Shout out Wan'Dale Robinson for continuing his big year, catching another touchdown, 5 for 54. Tyrone Tracy, 2-touchdown game, but all in all, man, Giants are looking, it seems like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It looks like the Giants are just trying to secure this #1 overall pick now to give themselves some leeway in draft trading. Because it looks like the #1 overall pick is going to want to be a quarterback or a quarterback-heavy team, with obviously Mendoza winning the Heisman. So maybe a team like the Giants is going to want to hold on to that #1 pick, so a team has to give up a bundle of assets to trade up for that #1 pick. And as for Washington, 4th win of the year, this was a game with no playoff implications, so not really an important game at all, but 29-21 win for Commanders over the
draft
Giants.
implications, I think Washington was looking at it, because if Washington lost and then the Giants won, they would have been, tied technically? I mean, it would have been tie breakings and stuff like that. They could have both been 3-11 yesterday.
So we might look back on that in a long time and say that helped out. That win right there for the Commanders really helped out the Giants maybe in the long term. Brady Cook, undrafted free agent, makes his second start of the year. Jets at Jacksonville. But the big takeaway of this is not the undrafted quarterback, but Trevor Lawrence, who threw 5 touchdowns in this game, basically all in the first half. It seemed like this game was over pretty quickly. Jacksonville scored with ETN very, very fast right out the gates. Trevor Lawrence, not only 5 passing touchdowns, but another 1 rushing. So 6 total touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence in this game. Travis Etienne having a Randy Moss kind of stat line without the Randy Moss kind of way of catching the ball. 3 of 73 and 3 touchdowns. All 3 catches turned into a touchdown. Incredible. That 45-yarder that was just a screen pass to the right led to a touchdown. Shout out, by the way, to Brian Thomas Jr. He's had a really down sophomore slump year. 4 for 66 and a touchdown this game. It was interesting, though. Jacoby Myers had a couple really, really big catches in this game. 5 for 71. Love seeing them, they made that trade for Jacoby Myers to bring him in, and since then he's been their wide receiver 1 in terms of target share and really efficiency on the passing game. But yeah, not a lot to say about this game. I think it's so funny, by the way, that we are still looking at the Jets with only 2 turnovers on the season. Or actually, yeah, the Jacksonville did fumble this game, so I guess that brought them to 3. But 3 total turnovers for the Jets defense this whole season.
They haven't, listen, even when everyone was saying their defense was great 3 or 4 years ago with Sauce Gardner and all those young, they weren't turning the ball over then with Robert Saleh. That was one thing when people said the Jets had like an elite, very good defense a couple years ago. They didn't have turnovers. Like that was one, you have to have turnovers. Can we look at Brian Thomas Jr.'s numbers this year? Yeah,
39 for 602 touchdowns on the year, 78th in catches, 47th in yards, 86th in touchdowns. Is not what you were expecting out of him if you drafted him in the second round of fantasy drafts this year.
Well, it's on the team.
Oh, yes, of
but
course.
he's going to be. I think he'll be fine. You know what I mean? He has serious talent. You know, it's like it's tough to adjust to the league. You know, I think he's going to be fine. If you see some of the catches he has, he's going to be good.
Also, give big credit not just to Brady Cook for playing in this one, undrafted free agent. I know he threw 3 interceptions, but I thought it was cool when he threw that touchdown, seeing his family's reaction in the crowd. I love seeing that when a guy makes his first start in the NFL, seeing the family there to support and everything. It was cool to see his parents there. Unfortunately, the Jets after this game fired their defensive coordinator. Like, that's going to make a big difference, you know. In week 15, let's fire our guy because.
Well, no, they did him right. They want to. No, they know what they're doing. They want to send him. They want to give him Christmas and stuff like that. So,
sure.
I mean, if they're going to can him anyways, let him collect his check and let him be home for the holidays. So
that's fair. But the Jets now sit at 3-11. They, I believe, have a top 4 pick in the draft, but not the number 1 pick, which is still secured by the Giants. The Texans control their home field in a 3-touchdown game for C.J. Stroud. Shout out to the 2 touchdowns from Nico Collins, including that 57-yard touchdown just to start this game. But man, Trey McBride, best tight end in football right now this season statistically. 12 for 134 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, shout out to Trey McBrizzle. Shout out Michael Wilson, by the way, for catching that touchdown. No receiver this season has gone over 50 yards against this Houston defense.
Garbage time.
It was, I mean, everything was garbage time because they were down 23-0 basically very quick in this game. But, hey, Michael Wilson, great catch. I got to give him credit. That was a beautiful catch on that left side of the end zone. And as for the Houston Texans, shout out Jawar Jordan, a name I had not heard of before this week. 15 carries, 101 yards with Woody Marks going down with the injury. Unfortunately, Woody Marks seems to be getting injured like every other game. I can't lie, it feels like every other game he gets taken out. Yeah, number 1 waiver wire priority definitely is going to be Jawar Jordan with an upcoming schedule of the Raiders, Chargers, and Colts. You love to see that Raiders game for the fantasy playoffs, but man, 15 carries, 101 yards, no touchdowns because C.J. Stroud threw all 3 of them in, 7 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, including 1 to Dalton Schultz, a couple throws to Dare Ogunbowale, and 2 touchdowns to Nico Collins in this one. Not much to say about this game overall. Cardinals should be trying to lose, trying to get that number 1 overall pick. What I will say, the passing offense in Arizona continues to look good, and I'm interested to see if they continue this scheme with a different quarterback next year. Maybe they bring in a rookie quarterback that has a similar play style to a guy like Jacoby Brissett, more of a pocket passer as opposed to a scrambling quarterback that they have.
That's who they're going to go after. They're going to want that number 1 pick. Who's Arizona got to close the season out?
Arizona to close the season out is playing against Atlanta, Cincinnati, and the Rams. So possibly a couple wins in there. Maybe a win against Atlanta, maybe a win against Cincinnati, but at the same time could be 3 losses.
Yeah, it could be 3 wins though, that Rams game. If the Rams have that locked up, they might, you know.
Possibly game of the week, possible Super Bowl contending game, but unfortunately with for Green Bay, Micah Parsons went down in this one with a torn ACL, but that did not stop Bo Nix from throwing 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, only 11 incompletions, including an R.J. Harvey rushing touchdown, 5 total touchdowns for this team. Cortland Sutton, 7 for 113 and a touchdown. Troy Franklin, 6 for 85 and a touchdown. Lil Jordan Humphrey, 6'4", 3 for 42 and a touchdown. Michael Bandy, number 83 with the touchdown. Marvin Mims has had a couple really cool plays in this one. Big shout out to the Denver Broncos offense, in my opinion, for absolutely dominating this game all day long. But yes, the defense overall making Jordan Love commit 2 interceptions. They were getting pressure.
That Surtain interception was incredible. One downfield.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns on the day, 1 receiving, 1 rushing, but those were the only 2 offensive touchdowns of the day for Green Bay. Man, Denver. A lot of people were saying Denver is not as good as, their record says because they were winning so many one-possession games, and I believe that they had 9.
That's what great teams do.
I believe that they had 9 straight games that they were losing in at some point, and then turned around to win. And in this one, they were technically doing that again. They were down 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, but then they came right back out in that second and third and dominated in the passing game specifically. Shout out Sean Payton for the play calling. I thought his offensive play calling was beautiful all day long. And by the way, number 1 receiver for the Green Bay Packers, Matthew Golden. That made me happy to see because he's been terrible.
The craziest play of this game was Josh Jacobs, that touchdown he had where he caught the ball literally
incredible.
took it. That was insane.
Not only it was a good throw too because it was only I know it was like a contested catch, but it was one of those lofted throws, but it was a great catch by Josh Jacobs there. Any thoughts on this one overall? Just Denver taking over the AFC now, looking like they're going to secure the 1 seed.
Denver, their defense is so freaking good. Obviously, their offense had a day yesterday. That was Bo Nix's best game all year. But their defense, I mean, good Lord, they get to the quarterback, there's pressure on everything. Surkan's, I mean, dude, he's out of his mind.
Riley defensive player of the year for a reason. Riley Moss had a couple bad penalties against him, I will say, but then made up for it right in the game with those passes.
They're also physical, you know what I mean? Hafunga, Benito, it was just a good game. Like when they were even scrapping before the game started, you knew it was going to be a good game no matter what. And right when the game starts on CBS, they show them fighting before the game. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a good one. And Green Bay, listen, Green Bay is legit too. I didn't think Green Bay played bad by no means. Green Bay is another team.
They just got out-dueled.
Yeah, and again, I think Denver's one of the toughest stadiums. Probably is. When the Broncos are good, I think Mile High is the toughest stadium to play in. I think that elevation shows. It's loud. The fans are good, but I think unfortunately the injury to Parsons is
devastating.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Green Bay, they can still get into the playoffs and stuff. But I mean, even now, it might be tough. Who's their remaining schedule? The Packers. They still got to play Chicago.
Packers got Chicago this week, then Baltimore, then Minnesota after.
Yeah, none of those games are going to be easy. It's just unfortunate with the way the injuries went. Because I thought, all in all, honestly, I thought it was a good game. Especially the way it started off with Green Bay. It was like that first quarter they held on to the ball. And it was, it was 3-0 right off, the first quarter. And I was like, man.
It felt like this was going to be a defensive game.
Yeah.
Run first.
100%.
Well, then Bo Nix came out and just shattered it. I mean, took it over.
Well, the defense. I thought Denver's defense is just, it's them in Houston. Every week I go back and forth who the better defense is. I don't know who to choose because I think those two teams are far and far. Whoever the third best defense is, it's not even close to those two teams.
I would agree.
Coach said Marks could have went back in game, scratched. Oh, well, that's good then. Good, but they should be. You got to rest guys right now. Eric, you can't be friggin' worrying about all that nonsense right now. You got to rest them if you can beat up on a team like Cardinals.
Big 34-26 win for the Broncos over the Packers. Packers now fall to second in the NFC North behind the Chicago Bears, where the Broncos.
Probably one of those. What are they now? The 7th seed in the. What are they in the playoffs?
Let's check. Let's see if I go to the playoff picture
I know
here.
It's early, but they're probably the 6th or the 7th seed, if I had to guess.
Amazon ads. We love to see it. Who would have thought? Let's go to standings. Let's go to playoff. Green Bay Packers fall to the 7th seed. Chicago jumps back up to the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Big time stuff there. Next game, we'll talk about possible other game of the week. Rams, Lions. Lions came out of this game guns blazing, throwing the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. 13 catches, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the week that I have to play him in the fantasy playoffs. So shout out to Amon-Ra for killing me and losing me my week.
Returning to Los Angeles, too. He was USC.
Jameson Williams, by the way, an underrated 7 for 134 in a touchdown game. But majority, it's funny to see Amon-Ra have the longest catch because normally that's a Jameson Williams thing. But
he was awesome.
Jamo over the middle was catching everything. He was running after the catch, making plays for himself. Now I will say Devontae Adams going down with that hamstring injury. You could see it right when he started running. Hope that everything's okay with Devontae Adams. Obviously, hope for the best injury-wise. But the Rams. 41-34 home win after it looked like Detroit was going to take this one going into the second half. The Rams come out and drop 17 points in the third quarter to 0 for the Lions. Biggest takeaways from this one was the Rams' defensive line, first and foremost, completely stopped the Lions from running the ball at all this game. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery combined for 70 yards on 20 attempts, where Kyron Williams and Blake Corum combined for 149 rushing yards on 26 attempts. Shout out Corum, man. Continues to play better and better every year, and that's because, and Kyron Williams, you'd think if Corum's having good games that Kyron would take a step back, but no, Kyron still starts these games scoring all the touchdowns, got all the goal line touches, and converted on them. Puka Nacua had his actually best statistical game in terms of receiving yards in his career, 9 for 181 on 11 targets. Colby Parkinson, 5 catches, 75 yards, and those 2 touchdowns. I will say that 1 touchdown, I definitely did not think that was a touchdown. It looked like his knee was down at the 1 yard line, but then they came back and ruled it a touchdown. A little interesting there. But overall, Devontae Adams obviously going down with a hamstring injury. We got to see his update, seeing how, if he'll be back in the regular season, because the biggest thing, also Puka did go down actually for a little bit. I know he got knocked up pretty good in this game. Interested to see, because they got a short week. They got the Thursday night game against Seattle. So I wonder if those receivers are going to play.
None, Timbo. I'm just protecting my eyes.
But yeah, 7-point win for the Rams. Any takeaways you want to say about this game?
The passing, I thought some of these passes that Stafford was making was crazy, because he threw that lousy interception in the beginning of the game.
Yes.
But I was like, man, especially down on his side of the field, I was like, you never see him do those. But the Rams are such a good team. I mean, this game really is like, it was kind of that late, the touchdown late by Detroit in this game. I thought the score makes it sound a little closer than it actually was. I thought the Rams were just, they're just more of a complete team.
They are probably right.
How are you, brother?
I like the West.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You're good.
They are probably the favorites right now in the NFC to be the Super Bowl favorites. They are now the 1 seed in the NFC, taking that lead over. Let's see where they're
This is
at.
the best Matthew Stafford has played in his career. I don't care what anyone says. This is the best he's played in his career. Yeah, 11-3. Yeah, now look at them. They're full. Well, I guess Seattle's right there too, so that's a huge game on Thursday.
It's a big game on Thursday, but big win for the Rams after the Lions came out guns blazing. It looked like they were going to win this game. The Rams dominate the second half to win in a 7-point shootout. The Saints take down the home victory. The Panthers had a chance to take over this division, but the Saints are right now not the leaders, but I would call them the owners of the NFC South, because the Saints have beaten the Falcons, they've beaten the Panthers, and they've beaten the Bucs. Tyler Shuck, man, 24 of 32, 272 and a touchdown. Great control over the game, it felt like all day. Tyler Shuck, I really only saw this game from Red Zone. I can't lie, I didn't have much of this game on. But big shout out to Devon Vele, continues making big plays, was traded to the Saints from the Broncos in the offseason. Devon Vele, great receiver, I love him. Chris Olave with that great post touchdown in the fourth quarter. Great touchdown by Chris Olave. Devin Neal scored the early touchdown. Jalen Coker had an incredible touchdown up the right side for the Panthers. Rico got in the end zone, but overall, this game came down to a field goal and defensive stops, and New Orleans controlled the game when they needed to, specifically late in the fourth quarter, and ended up getting the 3-point win. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy to see the Saints have 4 wins, and I believe all 4 wins, am I crazy now, are division games? No, they did beat the Giants once. So then they beat the Panthers, and Bucs in this division. So, man, shout out to the Saints for completely taking this NFC South and messing it all up, honestly, because the Panthers had a chance to go into this one, take down the division after the Bucs lost on Thursday night. But they couldn't do it. Tyler Shuck continues to play better and better every week. Got to give him credit. Second-round pick. A lot of people didn't understand the pick. Pick 40 out of Louisville. Back-to-back weeks now. Tyler Shuck has played really, really good football. Taking care of the ball. Game managed. Gotten his receivers involved. Made a couple really nice throws to his bigger receivers. Jawan Johnson had a crazy catch in this one. I'm kind of forgetting, but it looked like it was bobbled and fell into his hands. Great catch by Jawan. 20-17 win for the Saints over the Panthers. Another kind of game I didn't pay too much attention to, but San Francisco 49ers beat the Tennessee Titans 37-24. Tony Pollard's best game of the year, 104 yards and a touchdown. Cam Ward, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers at all day for the Titans, which is good.
Jeffrey Simmons with a touchdown.
Jeffrey Simmons, mind you, had a probably better receiver, how do I say this, receiver IQ than most receivers that the Tennessee Titans actually put out this season. He rolled out right, the entire defense followed Cam Ward on that rollout right, and Jeffrey Simmons went to the back left of the end zone, was wide open on the throw. Shout out Jeffrey Simmons.
Did DK get hurt in this game?
No, he did not. I don't believe DK got hurt. He was getting thrown around all over the place. I can't lie. They had him bottled up all day.
I missed his name.
They had him bottled up all day. Van Jefferson had a beautiful catch, brought them down to the 1-yard line. Gunnar Helm caught the touchdown. But all in all, this was a 49ers dominating game. McCaffrey 22 for 73 and a touchdown. Brock Purdy 7 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, including 1 to George Kittle and 2 to Jawan Jennings. It seems like that Jawan Jennings finding the end zone trend from last year has continued on to this year. Man just cannot keep himself out of the end zone. Brian Robinson Jr. came in and got 9 carries. I thought this was just a dominating performance for the 49ers. They came right out, scored in that first half, and controlled the game into the second. Good win for the Niners, can keep them in big-time playoff contention in the NFC. Philip Rivers made his return, and it seemed like he may have had a chance to win this game all day long. It felt like they were going to, honestly, until Seattle could not score any offensive touchdowns. 7 for 113 for JSN. They could not get the ground game going. Jonathan Taylor, 87 rushing yards, no touchdowns, but Philip Rivers threw the only touchdown of the day to Josh Downs. That was the first touchdown in 4 weeks that the Seattle Seahawks defense has allowed. And funny enough, it was to none other than 44-year-old Philip Rivers throwing the ball. But defensive masterclass from honestly both of these teams. I thought both teams played great, did exactly what they wanted to do. It's just that Seattle Seahawks within their own territory could not get the ball into the end zone, man. They were struggling on the ground game. They were struggling to get anyone else involved. I thought Shaheed and Kupp had a couple good plays in the first half, but when it came down to it, it was back to JSN and their normal stuff in the second half. No rhythm getting into the red zone at all for the Seattle Seahawks, but Jason Myers, Mr. Automatic, 6 for 6 from the field goal, 56-yarder, by the way. I believe one of them was like a really long field goal to close this game out, too, to win it. Overall, really big win for Seattle because this keeps them only actually tied with the LA Rams going into their home game on Thursday night, which is a big one. So very interested to see if Seattle wins that one, they would take advantage of the NFC West and the NFC as a whole to be the #1 seed. But winning this game with no offensive touchdowns felt like I was watching a Steelers game all over again. I can't lie.
Shout out to Lou Anarumo, defensive coordinator for the Colts. I mean, the Bengals, they let that moron Zach Taylor fire him like the defensive coaching's been the problem with the Cincinnati Bengals last year. I thought for Anarumo to keep the Colts in the game with Philip Rivers, guy's old as King Tut, for Christ's sake, goes out there to keep them in the game defensively. Indy's defense was really good on the road in a loud stadium that was wet. So a lot of credit to them. It was a great defensive game. That was an awesome defensive game. I know I love football games like this. I thought it was really good. Obviously, Rivers can't move, and he doesn't have zip on the ball like he used to, but I mean, they had the shot to win the game yesterday.
And he threw a couple passes, I want to say, that were more accurate than they should have been. For example, he had Josh Downs up that left sideline. Josh Downs looked up, or looked to the quarterback for the ball, but then he saw that the ball was actually already in the air. Tyler Warren.
Communication, though, it's like he just got brought in on Wednesday or whatever. It's like there was never any rhythm offensively with them because these guys don't know each other.
He kept forcing the ball to Tyler Warren a lot, which really didn't surprise me much knowing Phil Rivers. But hey, 18 for 27, 127 yards, a touchdown and an interception, and only 1 sack for 2 yards. So much credit to that Colts offensive line. They really tried. I don't think their run blocking was as good as they would have liked it to be, but their pass block was.
They're going against some dogs in Seattle, and I'll tell you who really impressed me is this kid Eamon Warren. Oh my God.
This is like 3 weeks in a row now that he's probably been the best defensive rookie.
He is I saw him playing yesterday. I was like, I didn't know that's the pick they used for the DK Metcalf trade. Oh, Seattle got that one right. So they got Witherspoon through a trade with Denver for the Russell, and then they got Eamon Warren, but they know what they
got Ernest Jones from the Rams brought over. Leonard Williams obviously was in a trade. DeMarcus Lawrence was a free agency pickup from Dallas. Byron Murphy was their early draft pick. Homegrown team that has built it from the way that they wanted to, and man, this Seahawks defense is scary.
I think he's going to be a
Cam Chancellor-esque. I don't want to say he is Cam Chancellor, but he looks like he's all over the field.
For a rookie, I was really impressed with him.
Big time win for Seattle there. This Thursday night game, though, is what the NFC is going to come down to. And lastly, I won't do too much talking. I didn't watch too much of this game.
I watched this game last night.
J.J. McCarthy, 3-touchdown game, hitting the gritty, running that 4th and goal rush in. Takes down the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys now on the brink, 1 game away from one loss away from elimination in the playoffs, but an 8-point loss for Dallas under Minnesota. Takeaways.
Good for J.J. McCarthy. He had the 1 interception. Who was that? The guy on the outside made a great play on Minnesota, got tipped up. But they answered. Brian Flores. I mean, everyone said, oh, Dallas has this great explosive offense, and they do. But Brian Flores keeping Dak Prescott confused, keeping the veteran confused about it. Is it blitz? Is it zone? Is it man? What the heck's going on?
Lowest passing completion rating of the season for Dak Prescott.
He's playing safe last, which was a smart thing to do, honestly. You know what I mean? But he totally, those downfield shots weren't there. I was impressed with Minnesota last night. That was a good win for them, so I was happy for them. Anything that can get, I'll be happy if Dallas gets eliminated from playoffs. So I believe if Philadelphia wins on Saturday, Philadelphia plays Washington. I think it's a lousy game Saturday. I think it's all over for them. So good riddance, Dallas Cowboys.
Big shout out, by the way, Jalen Naylor, man, continues to have a great connection with JJ. Makes these catches. I thought he was dead after that first one.
Oh, I know.
Shout out, by the way, Jordan Addison for doing the little revival celebration when he scored the touchdown just for him to actually be injured. I thought that was kind of funny, but then Jalen Naylor came right back in the second half and caught another touchdown. Big time stuff for Jalen Naylor, third receiver in that offense.
And Brandon Aubrey missing kicks last night. Aubrey missed 2 kicks last night. That guy's usually automatic. He did have the play where it wasn't, I guess. He ended up running it in, ran a first down. He didn't run it in.
He could have thrown it, by the way, for a touchdown. I think a lot of people, I don't know, when I saw that, I thought he could have really thrown that for a touchdown. But yeah, 2 missed field goals.
Touchdown out of the drive, though. You know what I mean?
Sure. 2 missed field goals, 4 for 6.
You take the first, I think if you have the first down safe right there, you take the first down. I don't think you want to really trust your kicker to throw a ball, even though it looked like you got it. That being said, Will Reichen hit some bombs last night too, so Reichen had a great game for minutes. And Harrison Smith, I mean, I feel like I've been saying Harrison Smith in the game now for what, 15 years, for Christ's sake?
2 pass deflections, 1 QB hit.
He was all over the place last night. He was amazing last night. That was a vintage Harrison Smith game last night. I felt like it was 2013 the way I was watching him play. But yeah, no, that was a great one. And then, but Eric, he can't hit every kick. You can't hit them all the time. You can't hit them all the time. Those are tough kicks for him to make. And then what else stood out to me in that? Yeah, no, it's just Minnesota just played much better, and they just played a great game,
JJ McCarthy finally making a couple big throws. Feels like he's on a couple good weeks now in a row.
Yeah,
JJ's stringing him around.
JJ McCarthy's a bust. The guy's played like 12 games.
8. Last night was just 8 games.
It's like, what the hell? Since when are we judging guys after 8 games? If we judge guys after 8 games, Drake May would have been thrown in the trash last year. It's like, give me a break. That was a ballsy call to that run play on 4th and goal right there. That was a great call right there on the goal line.
And then tonight, Miami, Pittsburgh. Very excited for that one.
Tonight, Timbo.
Gonna be a little cold. Let's go Steelers.